away from this. That's exactly what Satan wants. Because if you're full of joy, knowing that you are in fellowship with God and Jesus, and the Spirit of God indwells you, and you're trying to bring people into the fellowship, that gives Satan a hard time, right? But if I can get you chasing rabbits, if he can get you chasing rabbits on other stuff to turn your attention away from the Lord, then you're not as effective or not effective at all for the kingdom of God, okay? There's people who are Christian. They would tell you they're Christian, they're going to heaven, but it would it would upset them if the body in here, if every race was in here. It would tear their nerves up. Tear their nerves up. That's just the way people are. You're in the South, okay? Some of them old things are still there, okay? It could be monetarily, okay? I even read where when Spurgeon was preaching in the big churches, all the people who were street urchins and drunks, they would bring them in for the side. They didn't let them sit with the other people. They wouldn't let them sit with the other people because the other people would be offended and leave instead of sit there and smell them and that kind of thing. So they would bring them in on the side so they could still come to church too. But that's humanity. That's who we are. Filthy as nasty as we are, that's who we are. So we're either going to be effective for the kingdom, being full of joy, being obedient, that we've handled, we've touched, we've seen, bringing people into the fellowship because we're in the fellowship, or we're going to get off on one of these things. Because here's what he says. He handles this real quick. And I promise you, if you read the book, whatever rabbit you hunting, the Lord will hit you in the face with it in the book. So we're going to handle one right now. If we say that we have fellowship with Him, who's Him? Okay, we got fellowship with God, Jesus, through Christ, and walk in darkness. So what's walking in darkness? Living sinfully. Okay. If we say, I'm in love with Jesus, Jesus is in love with me, oh yeah, I'm in the church, but I'm living sinfully, somebody lied, and who was it? It's me, right? I lied. Right? It says if we walk in darkness, we lie and do not the truth. Now, if I'm walking in darkness and my lifestyle is walking in darkness, now, I want you to understand there is a difference. There's a difference between sin. All of us are sinners. We sin, okay? Born in sin. I mean, just little things. Our humanity just sin. But there's a difference in living in a pattern of sin, okay? There's a difference. Now, we need to confess both of them. But you got a shorter list if you're walking daily with the Lord, right? And you're laying it all out with Him daily. Other than getting in a bind, because once you get in a bind and get to walking in darkness, Satan will tell you, you ain't good enough to pray and you ain't good enough to read and you don't need to go to church, and you can get yourself in a bind, okay? But if you say you have a relationship with Him, so if you have a desire to go off this weekend and drink you a few, please don't tell nobody you go to St. Paul's Community Church. If you got a St. Paul's Community Church shirt on, take it off. Put on one that says Hank Williams Jr. or something. That's what I'm saying. Because what does that do to people who are on the outside? Oh yeah, I'm a member at St. Paul's Community Church. You are? Are all of them like you? If they are, I don't need to go to your church. Matter of fact, we having church here, ain't we? Right? We've lied. Now here's the thing. We've got to give an account to God for our lifestyle. But think about this. The blood of those people on our hands. Because we've led them away from God, not to God. Now He started this, what I've handled, what I've touched, what I know about. I'm telling you what I know about. And God's revealed it, and Christ has revealed it, and I'm in, and I'm telling you, and you need to tell somebody. And then He comes in and says, now look, here's the deal. You can't live any old kind of way now.